The 1959 Coronation Safari Rally was another one of those events on the rally calendar that was won by local crews. In fact, the Safari Rally was won for many years only by local crews because it was such a different rally. It's called the Coronation Safari Rally because the rally started in 1953, which was the year that Queen Elizabeth II was crowned, and being loyal adherents to the Empire, or at least the Commonwealth, the Kenyan decided to call it the Coronation Safari, and by 1959 it was still the Coronation Safari. Now it's the International Safari Rally. The Safari Rally probably got to be one of the toughest of the rallies. You know, the Alpine Rally was tough, but it was mainly public highways with some special stages. The entire Safari Rally was practically all one special stage because the roads out there then, and hardly even now, had asphalt covering. I mean, they're all dirt roads.
Too much scenery and too little time. All rallies have this in common, and particularly is it true of the East African Coronation Safari. For the European competitors, fresh from the Monte, the Alpine, or the Rally of the Midnight Sun, this was a new and exciting experience. The brilliant flowers that grew wherever there was water, the sunshine and the great open spaces, the wild animals that wandered about the roads, and the native tribesmen that waved a friendly greeting to the passing cars. All these contrasted strongly with the rallying conditions to which we have grown accustomed. Since the event was first held in 1953 to mark the coronation of Queen Elizabeth, the start and finish have been at Nairobi, capital of Kenya, a modern, thriving city of 100,000 people. The town, at 5,500 feet above sea level, has a surprisingly untropical climate, despite its closeness to the equator. For this reason, it has a large European population who gave the British crews a wonderful welcome and endless hospitality. And this is where we go. Exciting sounding names like Mombasa and Dar es Salaam in the humid heat of the coastal district, and snow-capped Mount Kilimanjaro. 3 territories, Kenya, Tanganyika, Uganda, are traversed during the 4 days and 2 nights of the safari, with a night's rest at Nairobi in between. The start from 6 to 9:30 a.m. on Good Friday. Good for those who weren't competing. We leave Nairobi with a type of starting ramp made famous by the Mile Media. Though Castagnetto's bowler hat is not there, little else is missing, for this virtually is a race. For production saloon cars, in production line condition. No deviations from standard are allowed, as in this way the organizers feel that the buying public will get a better idea of the relative toughness and suitability for local conditions of the various makes. 51 is Ronnie Adams' Super Snipe, which he shares with local driver Johnny Boys. And the commentator Ronnie Antrobus announces the departure of a Simca from Madagascar. And we have news for you. The safari is so dusty. And the soft drink brewers do a roaring trade. Typical of the conditions on this toughest of all rallies, Ronnie Adams, who used to drive 4 Ford, now drives through one. The country abounds in livestock, whether it is a snipe or a giraffe, or some of the neglected moth-eaten domestic beasts owned by the Maasai tribesmen, which prefer the middle of the road for grazing. Oh, look, no hands. And not only giraffes stick their neck out. Mosquito River Control, aptly named. After 5 hours driving and 236 miles of what we soon discover was an easy section. It's time for a fill-up. No, don't tell me. Let me guess. And that was an easy section.
Out of the race live line into the contact.
This is the team that protects their members with the most comprehensive set of online safety tools. Because with high speed, the intruders come at you faster.
Right, yeah, but what about spam?
Oh, it's blocked.
Spyware.
Zapped.
Pop-ups.
Shut down.
Identity thieves.
Foiled.
Updates.
Automatically.
Viruses.
Crushed.
Extra cost.
Never.
Too many questions?
No.
Really?
Really?
The all-new Safety and Security Center with the most comprehensive set of automatically updating online safety tools. Want a better internet? You belong at AOL.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful, and on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in off course.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
You've been tinkering with your car for so long now. How fast is it really? G-Tech Pro Performance Meter will tell you. It measures your 0 to 60 and quarter-mile time, handling G's, and yes, horsepower and torque. It's easy to use, and all the sensors are built in, so there's no installation. Just plug it in and go. It measures your RPMs right through the cigarette lighter, so you get sequential shift lights, just like in Formula One. Yes, it works in any car, even diesels. It's accurate to 100th of a second, thanks to 10 years of research and our award-winning technology. Magazines have tested it. Now they test with it. Become a better driver and have some fun, guaranteed or your money back. It's only $199.95, and it's the ultimate gift for a car guy. Get yours today. Call the 24-hour hotline right now. 1-800-GTECH-PRO. That's 1-800-GTECH-PRO. Or 1-800-483-2477.
The new AOL Safety and Security Center.
The next few sections are among the worst that the Safari has to offer. Gullies in the road so deep that if you park astride them, you could use them as inspection pits. Dried up riverbeds, which we cross with the doors open, so that the tidal wave from a distant cloudburst will flow through the car and not sweep it away. Only one of the 63 starters manages to complete these sections unpenalized. Perhaps because the other 62 paid too much attention to this sign. An unusual but normal East African hazard is the compulsory examination of cars for tsetse flies. But who ever heard of there being any flies on rally drivers? There is no time allowance for this procedure, and it's liable to put one behind schedule. Control procedure in the Safari is the same as in any other rally. except that there's seldom any time to kill between when you arrive and when you're actually due in. The road book is your silent passenger for the whole of the route. You drive it from control to control, guarding it with your life. You get it stamped as evidence that you've arrived on time. And finally, you deliver it to the authorities at the finish. Here's number 23, the eventual winners, leaving the control at Enderbash. Road conditions vary from one day to the next, from 1 mile to the next. During a reconnaissance of the route, you may complete a section on time, but on the day it may have rained. The dust has turned to a glutinous, clinging morass, and the surface is as slippery as black ice in the Monte. You can't even keep moving, let alone average 50 miles an hour and more. In dry weather, the dust thrown up by a car in front makes overtaking hazardous on the narrow roads, particularly as you may overtake the dust storm to find the two cars hurtling neck and neck for a single-track wooden bridge. And that's Vic Preston in one of the factory-entered Ford Zephyrs. Because of the tremendous distances between towns and the sparseness of the population, every control is in touch by radio with the Central Rally headquarters at Nairobi. The operators are mostly amateurs, doing the job for the fun of it. The safari is a big event in the lives of the natives, but any attempt to keep them in order earns the police a black look. Reed's Ford Zephyr, a local entry, sets off on the rough, muddy section to Bonga, the next control. 38 miles to be covered at an average speed of 51 miles an hour. Heavy rain during the night and early morning has opened up this gully, which is fully 2 feet deep. Unfortunately, the road to the left isn't much better, but it's the choice of two evils, and a locally entered Ford Anglia and Fiat 1100 give it a wide berth. Only one car manages to complete this section on time, number 49, the Mercedes, driven by Thomas and Lee. Despite the torrential rain, roads on the high ground dry out quickly, and the surface reverts to the interminable dust, dust which finds its way into everything, and turns the inside of the car to an even shade of reddish brown. It gets inside your clothes and stains you brown like woad, and it wears the brake drums into deep ridges.
You've seen the auction. Now, see it from the inside.
People really have no idea.
Go behind the scenes of the world's greatest classic car auction. Barrett Jackson.
Let's head to the block. Don't bid against him.
The chaos.
Hail? I'm trying to get my other car in before it gets here.
The bidding wars. And the timeless dream cars they all come for.
I'm buying your car.
Barrett Jackson, Life on the Block. Tonight, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, on Speed.
Before my wipers streak or my belt start to squeak, I know I'm gonna catch it on time.
AutoZone has the people, parts, and advice it takes to stop trouble before it starts.
Nobody knows your car like you do. Nobody knows what it needs like we do. AutoZone.
One novice bike builder.
Here's the deal.
In the ultimate challenge.
You do a great job, it's your bike.
Build a custom iron horse in 30 days. Build or bust.
I shouldn't have to explain this.
Wednesday night at 10 Eastern on Speed.
Lose fat, increase energy, feel better about yourself than you ever thought possible, all in less than an hour every other day. Reshape your body in record time with Fitness Made Simple's new 45-minute fat-burning workout.
This workout is a double threat to our fat reserves. Number 1, we burn some fat just by doing the exercises. Number 2, the lean muscle we build uses fat for energy 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, even while we're sleeping.
Work out at home with fitness celebrity John Bastow, doing exercises to sculpt your chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, and abs.
There are no tricky dance moves, no high-impact gyrations, just lightweight training done at a heart-pumping cardio pace to build lean muscle and burn pounds of fat.
Join the thousands of men and women who are improving their bodies and lives with our best-selling videos. Call now or order online at our website, fitnessmadesimple.com.
Fitness made simple, bringing real results to real people.
The colour of the countryside there in Central Africa is very red, a bit like Georgia clay. It's a very red colour. And very, very dusty, of course. Tremendous heat all the time, tremendous sunshine, and it really dries the place up like a prune. But when it rains, all this dust turns into absolutely glutinous mud, you know, in a heartbeat. And so, you know, choice of tyres is almost impossible. Of course, back in 1959, there really weren't many choices of tyres. And it was a very, very punishing and grueling rally, and of course, terrifically hot. In very tough conditions and extremely tough on the cars, as well as the crews, but very tough on the cars.
During this first night, we travel southwards to Dodoma, then east to Dar es Salaam on the coast, with its two very difficult sections. Before we see daylight again, Carlisle's Volkswagen is out with its chassis cracked in 3 places, and one of the Peugeots is overturned. Approaching Hemo Bridge on the Saturday morning, the horrors and the tight sections of the night behind them, Bennett and Brown have managed to keep their Ford Zephyr intact. The roads are good here, by East African standards, that is. Navigation is the one difficulty that competitors in this event are spared. Roads are few, and there is seldom any alternative to the right route. When you're not driving, you can sleep, if the bucking and leaping car will let you. And the driver's unlikely to need your services as a timekeeper. He will be driving flat out anyway, and there's no penalty for arriving earlier to control. That is, if you can. The cavalcade of cars has passed. The Easter parade, with its Easter bonnets, can continue on its way. From heads and their bonnets to tails. This Opel Capitan, veteran of 4 safaris, succumbs to the road conditions. The front suspension, and later, the engine mountings collapse. Dusk on the Saturday evening, as we journey on towards Voi, with only 400 miles to go before the rest period at Nairobi. As an alternative to dust, there is sand, equally penetrating, but harder even to drive on, as whatever we do to the steering wheel seems to have little effect on the car's direction. If the sand is in ridges, we carry on helplessly with the inevitability of a tram bound for the terminus. It is bleak, sparsely populated country. The regulations insist that each car carries food and water. If we break down, it may be the next day before help arrives. There are no gates at the level crossings, nor are they level by any stretch of the imagination. And if you want shunts, you can have them, all too easily. Unless you time it like this.
Tonight, NASCAR TV is on speed. One tough series.
Oh, and he hit very hard.
Deserves one rockin' party.
There is no better product in racing than the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series banquet. Tonight, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
We make 18 award-winning styles of Samuel Adams. Which is your favorite?
I like the lager the best.
That's still my favorite, too. The cream stout? I like the dark beers.
Sam Light is my drink.
Boston Ale. I think that it's the best ale that's out in the market.
Black lager. It's just really smooth. I like the Sam Seasonal, regardless of the season.
Which wings?
I didn't know they were 18. I've probably tried 7 or 8, so I got some work to do.
Who's up next? Give me that pink slip.
You have lost your vehicle.
One last final race.
This is the first time this has ever happened on pink.
I didn't say that. I said stop the race.
Let's race.
Let's do it.
You agreed to it. Line the car up.
Pigs, lose the race, lose your ride. Season 2 premieres this February, only on Speed.
Now the run into Nairobi, as darkness falls for the second time. Straight and fast stretches, by now we've grown used to ill-treating the long-suffering car, provide the chance to pick up valuable minutes. Minutes that can be spent repairing the ravages of time and East Africa before the cars are put away in the park family for the night. So much for the first loop. 1,800 miles of what would be signposted in Britain impracticable for motorists. By now, the 12 European drivers have begun to appreciate what the locally owned cars are putting up with every day. Rightly and sensibly, the organisers limit the entry to standard quantity-produced touring cars, for they are the cars that the East African motorists are buying. As they set off again, the original field of 63 cars had been reduced to 43, 20 having retired as a result of mechanical failure or through lateness. With only 1 minute's penalty and leading the Safari was the Mercedes-Benz number 49, driven by Thomas and Lead. The factory-entered Fords were close behind and in the lead for the manufacturer's team award. On this 1,400-mile northern leg, confined largely to Uganda, the countryside is much greener, much more wooded, much more prosperous looking, as these native huts, pride of some district commissioner, suggest. But again, it's a case of too much scenery and too little time. And there goes the silent passenger again. An Indian-entered Volkswagen pulls up at the Embu control to have the roadbook stamped with its time of arrival. How different all this is from bundling out of the car into the snow and ice of the Monte Carlo rally to check in during the mountain circuit. But time in the Safari is just as vital a factor. The next section, to the Meru control, with its 180 hairpin corners in 92 miles, its dust or dust turned to mud beneath the dripping trees, and its average speed of 40 miles an hour, is considered one of the most demanding of the rally. Here the alpine-like terrain sorts out the sheep from the goats, both of which take every opportunity of getting in the way. You take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Nairobi before you, if there aren't any more goats around the corner. Going my way. So-and-sos won't stop for anyone. Terrible manners these days.
You've seen the auction. Now, see it from the inside.
People really have no idea.
Go behind the scenes of the world's greatest classic car auction. Barrett Jackson.
Let's head to the block. Don't bid against him.
The chaos.
Hale, I'm trying to get my other car before it gets here.
The bidding wars. And the timeless dream cars they all come for.
I'm buying your car.
Barrett Jackson, Life on the Block. Tonight, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on Speed.
Right now, a high-performance Dell XPS system with an Intel Pentium D processor with dual-core processing and a 19-inch flat panel can be yours for only $969. And for a limited time, qualifying XPS customers pay no interest for 18 months. XPS, the ultimate Dell PC.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful, and on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in off course.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
Sunday, January 15th, 24 returns to Fox with a special two-night premiere. And Speed wants to put you on the inside with the 24 Ultimate Jack Bauer Driving Experience Sweepstakes. Daily prizes awarded, or you could be headed to Hollywood to the set of 24 and to stunt driving school to learn how to drive like a CTU agent. Go to speedtv.com for more info and then click through to enter the 24 Ultimate Jack Bauer Driving Experience Sweepstakes. And don't miss the premiere of 24 Sunday, January 15th at 8, 7 Central, only on Fox.
The appalling road surfaces are over, though the dust is still there, on the long, straight road southwards to Nairobi. Far from the finish still, the crowds begin to line the route. In little groups at first, and steadily increasing until at the finish, they're there in their thousands. It's a great welcome after the long journey, and typical of the tremendous enthusiasm that exists for the safari. The crowds stir and surge forward as the first arrival, Fini's Peugeot 203, completes its grueling journey to win the class for cars costing up to £625. Now, the outright winner, the Mercedes-Benz driven by Fritschie and Ellis. They incurred 150 penalty points, a total of 3 minutes late in 3,200 miles, and theirs is a private entry. Dennis Scott and Peter Davis, Ford Zephyr. Second only to the Mercedes in the general classification. And this was Dennis Scott's first experience of East African roads. Next year, perhaps. Then the hard luck story. Every rally has one. Thomason leads Mercedes, which looked like being the winner up to only 300 miles from the end. And then the interviews. What was it like? Well, the general impression seems to be that it was the toughest and fastest so far. One by one they come in, tired but thankful to be in one piece. The rally is over for another year. The results are calculated and announced to the world, by cable, by telephone, and to the outlying districts, the news goes out by bush telegraph. Another day comes, there's no more motoring, and Africa settles back to its more gentle way of life, the rush and dust of another safari over. It means little to the natives that theirs is one of the few countries left where a real test of man and machine may be staged.
Safari Rally, as I said, was won for years by absolutely local crews. I mean, all the best people would come in there and they'd get their clocks cleaned off by some local. A couple of Indian brothers won it, must be 4 or 5 times, Indians who moved to Africa generations before, and these 2 brothers won it many times. But then, as the Coronation Safari changed to the Safari, then the East African Safari, and now I believe it's the International Safari Rally, and it's now part of the World Rally Championship. So now you've got the really heavy hitters going in there. You know, you've got people like Peugeot, Citroën, Saab, Fiat, Toyota, Nissan, Mitsubishi, who all run big, and of course Subaru, who all run big international, the whole schmear. They do the whole year. They rally in Australia, they rally in Indonesia, they rally in Africa, they rally in China. And nowadays, those big teams, with those high-tech teams and absolutely top world-class driving teams, they can win it themselves. Now, they don't need help from the locals to win it.